I wanted to take a few minutes today to talk to you about what has been the most obviously contentious bill of the session, and that's right to work. I think that there has been a lot of misinformation, a lot of information about this issue, and kind of just wanted to distill it down into why I voted for it and why I support it here in West Virginia. Obviously, over the past several months, we've gotten a lot of data on this topic, a lot, and I have spent the greater part of my time focusing on going through that data since we started to receive it in around October. And so when I was looking through the data and I was looking through for reasons as to why I would support it or why I wouldn't support it, I had two questions in my mind. And the first was, what are the legal issues surrounding this? And second, what are the economic impacts? And so I wanted to start first and talk about the legal impacts of it. One of the biggest topics that we've heard of regarding this matter was the free rider issue, and that being that unions will now be forced to represent people who are no longer part of the union. And that simply isn't true with this. There have been two U.S. Supreme Court cases which have decided that unions have the ability to negotiate what is called a members-only contract. And under that contract, the union only has the responsibility to represent either people who are members of the union or those who pay what are core representation fees. Aside from that, they have no responsibility whatsoever to represent someone who opts out or doesn't join the union. They do not have to represent them in a grievance matter. They don't have to bargain for their wages or their benefits. They have no responsibility to them whatsoever. We've heard time and time again that this type of law will force unions to represent those who pay them no membership dues or no core dues. And like I said, that is just not true. This law, in no way, shape, or form, affects a person's ability to join a labor union, to remain as a member of a labor union. All that it does is give someone the option as to whether or not they would like to be a member. If that person opts out or doesn't join, and they have a grievance against their employer, or if they feel that they aren't getting their fair share of a wage, they have no recourse to go to the union because they weren't represented by that person. It was that person's choice. And as I said, there are two U.S. Supreme Court cases which establish what are known as members-only contracts. And as we are all well aware, when the U.S. Supreme Court speaks on something, that's the final word in this country. The second and most important factor to my decision to support right to work was the economic impacts. Because if this job isn't going to have an impact on our economy, then why would we do it? 16 of the top 25 states in this country in job growth and population growth are right to work states. West Virginia is dead last in both of those. 19 of the top 25 states in this country in manufacturing jobs are right to work states. West Virginia is 47th. In the time period from 2003 to 2013, West Virginia shed 16,000 manufacturing jobs. So if this gives us the opportunity to bring those back to the state, then I think we should all be for it. Over that same time period, and actually in a greater time period, we saw union membership decline from 100,000 to 73,000 from a time period of about 2000 to January 1st of 2015. The past two states to pass right to work laws have seen an increase in their union memberships, Michigan and Indiana. So to say that this is anti-worker or anti-union is not true. Those two states saw an increase in their union members, in their manufacturing jobs, and also in their natural resources and mining sectors. So for us to have the ability to keep on pace with states that are right to work and add jobs to our economy, that's huge. West Virginia right now ranks dead last in workforce participation and employment numbers, last in the nation. It's been shown that right to work, if it comes to West Virginia, will add up to 25,000 jobs to our economy in the next several years. That's huge. If it's your job that's added, or your kid's job that's added, allowing them to stay here in the state, then I think it's a very important bill that we all need to take a look at and go past the rhetoric and take a look at what it actually does. In the last election, people in West Virginia saw that what we were doing just wasn't working. We were at the bottom or near the bottom of nearly every important economic indicator in the country. We're losing population. We're losing jobs. Many of my friends from high school, the vast majority of them no longer live here because they couldn't find a job here. So people saw that. And people saw that the state was headed in the wrong direction. And they made a change. And we're a part of that change. Taking decisions that are different from what we've been doing, changing the status quo, or heading in a new business direction can be frightening, and I understand that. But sometimes the risks are worth the reward. When we see what Right to Work does, when we see the benefits that it has done to the economies of the states that have passed it, when we see that unions will not be forced to represent people who don't pay them fees or who are not a member, when we see all that it can do, we have to take that risk. I understand that people are afraid and that people have concerns that we may be headed in the wrong direction. But we were headed in the wrong direction long before this came about. What we're doing now gives us the ability, gives us the flexibility to bring in new economic drivers, to bring in new businesses, new manufacturing jobs, new mining jobs, new natural resource jobs. I see that. I see the potential. I see the job growth potential, and I think it's something that we should all get behind. And I think it's all something that while we may be adverse to those risks and we may be adverse to change, we need to realize that West Virginia just isn't on the right track, and we need to make these changes to make it work.